There are some things you must never do abroad, like insult the Queen in Britain, sport a swastika in Israel, or compare anything to the Holocaust in Germany. But that's exactly what Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas did. He visited Berlin on Tuesday. He held a bilateral meeting with Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Things went fine until the press conference. Abbas was asked about the Munich massacre in 1972, the time when Palestinian terrorists attacked the Israeli contingent at the Olympic Games. 11 Israelis were killed, and this year marks the 50th anniversary of that attack. Now, the question put to Abbas was quite simple. Do you condemn or criticize the Munich massacre? And Abbas gave the worst possible answer. Listen to this.
From
1947 to the present day, Israel has committed 50 massacres in Palestinian villages and cities, in Deir Yassin, Tantura, Kafr Qasim, and many others. 50 massacres, 50 holocausts. And until today, and every day, there are casualties killed by the Israeli military. Our request is to say enough, come towards peace.
Big mistake. The German Chancellor was visibly upset. You could see the frown on his face as Abbas made these comments. Everyone knows it is the unsaid rule in Germany, never compare anything to the Holocaust. And frankly, can you compare anything to the Holocaust? Around 6 million Jews were hunted and killed by Nazi Germany. 6 million. Since then, the world has seen multiple genocides, multiple human rights abuses, but nothing compares to the scale of the Holocaust. Olaf Scholz knew that. He was silent when these comments were made, but within hours, he released this statement, and I'm quoting. I'm disgusted by the outrageous remarks made by Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. For us Germans in particular, any relativization of the singularity of the Holocaust is intolerable and unacceptable. I condemn any attempt to deny the crimes of the Holocaust. Now, this is a diplomatic crisis. Look at what German politician Armin last year tweeted. He's calling it the worst speech ever delivered at the German Chancellery. The government has summoned the Palestinian envoy in Berlin. They've registered a diplomatic protest, and as expected, Israel is fuming. Their Prime Minister Yair called the statement a moral disgrace and a monstrous lie. He added that history will never forgive him. It makes you wonder, what was Mahmoud Abbas thinking? He did not just draw parallels to the Holocaust, he did that on German soil, right next to the German Chancellor. As far as mistakes go, this is a pretty big one. And Palestine cannot afford to make these mistakes. The support is waning consistently. More and more Arab nations are recognizing Israel. So Palestine needs support from all corners, now more than ever. Plus, what's the point of comparing tragedies? Nobody is disputing the misery and hardships of Palestinians. Nobody is disputing Israel's military excesses. But every tragedy is different. It is defined by the politics, the ideology, and the circumstances. So comparing them is counterproductive. And amid all the backlash, Mahmoud Abbas has now retracted his statement. He says he only wanted to highlight Israeli crimes. He also reaffirmed that the Holocaust was the worst crime in human history, but frankly, the damage is done. Abbas's visit to Germany revealed that Palestine has a lot of ground to cover. Their leaders have failed to convince the global community. I'll give you one example. Abbas described Israel's policies as apartheid in Berlin. Listen to how Chancellor Olaf Scholz pushed back.
And of course, we also have a different assessment with regard to Israeli politics. I want to say explicitly here that I do not adopt the word apartheid as my own, and that I do not think that is the right way to describe the situation.
Scholz also raised another issue, and that's elections. You see, Palestine's last elections were held in 2006. And since then, Mahmoud Abbas has been the president. Today, he's 87 years old. Normally, we disregard age for politicians around the world, but Palestine does not have that luxury. Do you know why? Because the Palestinian Authority is not just a government, it is also a movement. And every movement needs fresh leadership, fresh ideas, fresh blood. That's where Palestine has failed. Compare that to the Arab states. Most of them have been inherited by a new generation of leaders, whether it's Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan in the UAE or Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia. They're finding new solutions for their people. But Palestine is stuck in the same old cycle. For the sake of their people, We hope things change. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.